showing themselves to be true over and over again, regardless of what those beliefs are. And what we see is that when you hold an emotional space, the reality tends to entrain to that vibration. And you tend to pull into yourself those experiences that are similar to the thoughts that you've been having. Now, when people pray, there have been studies on prayer that show there's two basic kinds of prayer. And one is very ineffective and one is very effective. When the prayer sounds something to the effect of, "Oh Lord, please help my brother-in-law stop being such a son of a bitch," that has been very ineffective. Get him to stop beating my wife, and get him to stop drinking so much, and get him to stop being so rude. And that doesn't work, because the vibration you're holding is not of love and it's not of healing. Was very upset because there wasn't enough rain where she lived in Boerne, Texas. In fact, they were having a terrible drought. And when she watched TV, the weatherman said, well, because of the high pressure and this and that, it's going to be at least 6 months before we might see the first drop of rain. Meanwhile, the water police were passing new rules and saying that you're going to have to water your garden only on this day and this day for only this much time. She decided that both of these were absolutely unacceptable realities. So what she did was she decided to open herself up to the idea of having it rain. So she told her husband, she said, honey, I'm going to go outside and make it rain. And so he said, that's a very good idea. And she walked outside, sat on the porch, and she was so angry about the drought and the predicament that she was in. It took her about 20 or 30 minutes to find her first positive emotion about rain, to find her first positive feeling about rain. And finally she, after 20 or 30 minutes of looking, she finally found a place within herself that felt completely free and easy. And she thought, you know, I love the smell of rain when it first comes down. And so she spent a minute or two just relishing that beautiful thought. I just love that. And I love the sound of the rain. when it comes down. And I love the way my plants look when it's been dry and now they're getting the water that they need. I love the way they knowing it's true, and stop reading the newspapers, and stop watching the news, and stop arguing against. Go ahead, read the newspapers and see the news and all that, in order to build your desire, because the desire can get very strong, and the desire can be a very powerful aspect of it. Well, there's one last one, Alan, who teaches the supercharging workshop. He had attended my workshop many times, and he had been thinking that I had talked about this subject, and he had heard me talk about it many times. He thought, well, why don't I just try that? Because he had never tried it before. So he had a job making $8 an hour as an administrative assistant for a very paranoid and nervous boss. He was not happy. He was not fulfilled. Here's a man with tremendous compassion and skills for seeing energy and such, and here he's working this crappy job, basically. So he imagines himself doing something that is completely fulfilling. He doesn't know what it is. He just imagines he doesn't have to have a picture of what it is, but you have a picture of the emotions. So he pictures himself doing this totally fulfilling job and getting paid wonderfully well, and people adoring him everywhere he is, and just having the most wonderful time and being able to buy nice things for his wife. Just having this lovely, easy life. Well, about 5 days later, he'd been doing it every day for about 5 to 10 minutes a day, just holding that space. But there was no internal contradiction within him. It's a very free thing. There's nothing pushing against the other way. As he does this, 5 days later, I happened to call him up and say, listen, I've got the supercharging class, and I think you might be the person I need to teach it. Well, and it all worked out perfectly well, and he's been teaching the supercharging class ever since. And everything he asked for completely came to him. Now, contradictions of experience, when you see something happen that you really don't like in your life, the beauty of that experience is it raises your desire for what is desired. So when you say, I don't want cockroaches, and I don't want this, and I don't want that, well, what is the desire that is born from those emotions? I want a place that's clean. I want a place that's spacious. I want a place that's beautiful. I want a place that's quiet. I want a place that feels wonderful, that feels sacred to me, that just opens my heart. I want a place where I can touch my spirituality and feel inspired. See the difference in emotional vibration of that? And when you hold what is truly desired, it's really fantastic. Well, there's two ways of getting to peace. There's one way, which the Buddhists are quite correct. You can lower your desires far enough that you enter a position of peace, and that does work. Of course, there's very little passion and enthusiasm and joy from that space because you're so desireless that hardly anything matters. There's another method which I prefer myself, which is if you have a very high desire, but let's just start here. If you have a very high desire and a very low ability to allow what you desire in, that's called suffering and extreme agony and pain and misery. That's the most painful place to be. And the Buddhists are right, if you lower the desire far enough, that'll actually become peaceful. However, if you have very high desire, if you raise your allowance levels of what you can allow yourself to receive, this becomes ecstasy, because everything flows, and you have no resistance to what is desired, and everything just comes to you effortlessly. It just flows in. So if you